why can't the law enforcement agencies, particularly the police department, unfortunately the police minister is not there to listen to this tribune, but why can't they simply look at studies that are done in other countries and see the recommendations being made? They're the same recommendations being carried out worldwide. Now, law and order, Emal Man Committee, all animals law, Place Committee, they're human beings who are committing those crimes, and they live in homes and they come from societies. Deputy Speaker, everywhere in the world, there's evidence, overwhelming evidence that show that if you start to arrest people, then you will have deterrence. Now, if you look at all the social media and videos floating around the place, people from the villages are, holding their firearms and flaunting and getting pictures with our security forces. If I'm the Minister for Police or the Minister for Defense, I will arrest that particular law enforcement officer who's there taking photos with his people in the village, because he's actually partaking in that and promoting those behaviors. Deputy Speaker, it's not a joke anymore, Some of you live in those, flashy hotels and fly in and out of Australia, and you don't live in your villages, so you don't know what's happening in your villages. You think Papua New Guinea is Australia, Brisbane, or the casinos in Sydney. You people have to go to your villages. You people have floated around those malls, some like in Tycoon or US now. You people have looked at one of something come up no place. I hear some of you mentioning Bula. I think Fiji is your country. Papua New Guinea is no longer your country. This is a problem. Some of you think that when I started raising this issue, you could talk about the Memblong Henga or Memblong Hela, or those trouble fight infested areas. But no. In any illness, the weakest area is the first one that shows symptoms of illness. And that's where Henga and these other places are coming into view. It's a systemic illness that starts from here on this floor of Parliament. You start arresting members of Parliament, and then the nation will toe in line. When you have one set of laws protecting, the elites here on the floor, and when you have another set of laws, being enforced on us, normal citizens on our streets, that's when law and order starts to break. It starts in this house. I've been complaining, now that the police minister is inside, I've been complaining on this floor for 3 years now, my brother. It's quite difficult for you to arrest a simple man on the street in Wabag. Complaints have been made. So many PPCs have been addressed. I don't know what set of criteria you use to, performance appraise your PPCs in your own provinces. I think the most important one should be the rate of arrest. If we see the rate of crime increasing in a province, and if the rate of arrest doesn't commensurate with that rate, we should start taking those PPCs. But no God. My good minister, you are succumbing to leaders in this parliament, and you are allowing them to appoint your PPCs. How much time me talking to you, and me talking to you again? They are not the police minister. You are the police minister. Mr. Speaker, one of the biggest factors that actually limit crime in any other nation or jurisdiction for that matter is the arrest. When you start arresting people, you start to have deterrence. And people start realizing, because they're human beings, or money, or by you come arrest them also, they will start to stop. And that influence permeates the society, and it starts to influence good behavior. Right now, we don't see any arrests. How you may expecting law and order to thrive your country from here? Please. The fundamental role of a government is to protect its citizens. That's why when the ordinary people give their votes to us, when they consent to give their votes to us, they cast, certain rights are actually vested on us, like the right to violence and use of violence to enforce law and order. That right has been given to government. Yet our policemen and defense force have actually become, they have morphed into peace mediators. They go around and talk and, talk. You are not supposed to go and talk. Alman or Sabe, you come up with some geli na, all but treating you some geli. We are supposed to use force. The monopoly of force has been vested on the state, on the government. Plenty you complain, or say, some leaders were placing on making work. We go and do our jobs, I'm telling you. We do our jobs. Unfortunately, the institutions of state.
Honorable Member, we have a point of order. Minister for Defense.
Sorry for disturbing, but I think it needs to be made very clear that PNGDF does not have any arresting powers while they're out there. They're only there to support the police. So no good meeting was a defense staff lab, no can arrest him on Monday. In our program.
Honorable Minister, I think I've raised that concern before. I'll allow the member to go ahead.
All get talk time all that in time at least. You blame talk na, me blame all get no making talk when you blame no talk on the parliament. Please, law and order and big problem. And outside of me blame over the streets. I know, let alone our, our mothers, our daughters. It's quite difficult for them to live a normal life in this country. Yeah. One of the fundamental roles of the government is to protect its citizens. And if we fail in that, we've actually lost our legitimacy as a legitimate government, Mr. Speaker. We'll ask him again, please. Talk Mibla, William Size Mibla. If the words we speak on the floor of Parliament would automatically translate to action like God created the world, we'd be living in that world of, our aspiration, in that utopian world we dream of. Unfortunately, Police Minister, now Honorable Line to us, Mr. Speaker, you block not giving me assurance plenty time going. Assurance I'm no getting one black kaigablem. I'm a simple man and we made him arrest for over 3 years. I'm sorry, Muslim, government and faith. Please, you may address law and order. Law and order and big crisis inside the country now. It's in crisis. And places in Kokopo. I went to school in Kiribati. Places like Kokopo used to be very peaceful places. Very peaceful places. And if you see crime rates in Kokopo increasing, that's an indictment on the government's ability to provide law and order and, provide governance for people. I don't know what measures you are using to measure your own success as a government. If the basic socio-economic indices, if the crime rates are actually down, plunging into habits, you have to relook again and address those issues. It's like economy, you've got to go up 200 billion or something here. It doesn't show on ground. Those figures are not commensurate with our socio-economic indices. We have to start taking a serious look at law and order. I've been raising this on this floor so many times, and I'm, raising it again. Law and order, please. Let's address law and order. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.